A little gill to start the morning here. Good morning, folks. We're back in the northwest side of the state here, our home territory. Doing a little fishing today, of course. And it's with a heavy heart that we're out here fishing. This morning, we've had some unfortunate news that happened overnight. And I'll get more into that here in a little bit here. I just want to get things organized here in the boat. I was just making a few casts to test some brush, and there's fish on it. So I'm going to stop here and get everything set up and stay tuned. Yeah, folks, unfortunate news that happened overnight. Our buddy, Zach Morrow, who has been battling cancer for, I want to say, almost 2 years, if not a little longer, passed away overnight. I know everybody in the fishing community, at least in my circle, and probably outside of my circle, knew Zach. He was a very, very passionate and friendly angler. He was a up-and-coming stick, very young. He was an ice junkie. He was a Clam Outdoors teammate for a few years. And he just really loved to talk fishing. And he was not afraid to go up to anybody, whether he knew them or not. He was not starstruck by any, of the guys that you see on TV. He would talk fishing with anybody, and you really made his day over the last couple months if you would just reach out to him and chat, even if it was only for 5 or 10 minutes about fishing. And I guess it really hits home because I knew things weren't going well. I had seen some of his posts and TikToks, and every time I reached out to him, he was really tired. Conversations were short, but one thing that I loved about Zach is he would always text me with different questions, off the wall questions, like about certain baits, about have you ever tried this in these kind of areas, or have you ever thought about doing this? And I'm not gonna lie, I've done some of that stuff that he talked about wanting to try, and it's worked. So I always love talking to Zach about the ins and outs, and just talking shop with him. And one of our last conversations was about this new, well, there's so many names for it. I'm just going to call it an urchin bait that you see a lot of the bass guys using now. Kind of like the fuzzy dice baits, but, they're calling them urchins now. And they've started to make panfish urchins. You can find them in about 3/4 of an inch, which is more of an ice fishing bait. But they do make 1 1/4 inch all the way up to 1 3/4 inch, which is, in my opinion, worth trying here in these open water panfish. And he always asked me if I've tried it yet, and he wanted to, if he ever got healthy enough to get out again, he was going to try it. So we're going to dedicate this episode to Zach. I've got some urchins that I ordered about 2 weeks ago, and they came in a couple of days ago. They've been sitting in my tackle bag. I haven't even opened them yet. We're going to give them a shot in honor of Zach, and they might work, they might not work, but we're going to try them anyway, so stay tuned. There we go. We're out here on some mid-depth wood again, 15 feet of water, and there's a bunch of fish stacked on it. I think it's probably a good mix of crappies and gills, but we'll see. We got one gill already. I don't know what this is yet. Oh, another gill. Nice gill. One's got kind of a funky looking eye there. Big old ear tab on him. I love when they have those big ear tabs. Check that out. Check his eye out. Kind of gnarly. See that? Wicked. Nice fish, though. Yeah, so a little bit more about Zach here. Loved panfish. He loved all different types of fishing, walleye fishing, bass fishing. But most of our conversations were always about panfish. He had a Facebook page, Morrow Outdoors. He also made baits. He made jig heads. He made or painted crankbaits. I think he got into the plastic game there for a while. Just a very ambitious young man who loved the outdoors. And I always enjoyed talking to him at the Clam Pro Days when we were both part of Clam Outdoors. But a little bit more about this episode that's dedicated to Zach. We're just searching for fish right now, and I've got my trusty Gulp minnow, 1-inch minnow on. But we're going to try to get on a pot of fish here. And Zach always had, like I said, so many questions. Like I could barely get one question answered before 3 more would come in, and that's what I loved about Zach. But he was like, "Hey, with that finesse slip float, that you're always fishing, have you ever thought about trying those panfish urchins with the same tactic?" And honestly, I haven't. I had heard about them, but mostly the bigger baits that are made for the bass fishing. But as soon as we were done talking, which was a couple weeks ago about that, I went out and ordered some, and they've been sitting in my tackle bag. I just grabbed a couple bags. I think I got a motor oil color, watermelon with red flake, and then a pink one of some sort. And these are 1.5 inches, and I'm just going to try to fish them on these finesse slip boats with my little 1/32 ounce or my 1/50th ounce VMC with the number 8 hook. I might have to go a little lighter. I might have to go a little bigger. I've got to play with it a little bit. But the goal here first is to get on a pot of fish, and then we're going to give them a shot, and we'll see how it goes. So hang with us, man. Could be interesting. Boy, the water temp's really warm yet for this time of year. I mean, it's dog days of summer, but up here in the North Woods, it's water temp's usually starting to slowly come down, as we usually get a bunch of cooler nights by now, but we're not. It's still warm. Water temp's 82.3 this morning. Just another nice gill right there. We were over in northeast Wisco over the weekend fishing the flowages, and water temperature there is much, much cooler. It's in the mid 70s there. Fishing the same type of stuff, a lot of wood. Man, did we get some dandy crappies and some dandy bluegills as well. Nice one. So same type of approach as we had over in northeast Wisco, over in Oneida County. Just a little bit different water temps. The thing about fishing those flowages, if you watch that last video, you don't know what you're going to catch because everything utilizes that wood. We caught perch, we caught tank gills, we caught tank crappies, we caught walleyes, we caught smallmouth. Caught a lot of the nicer ones on this slip float rig with the orange gulp fish fry and then the gold and black 1-inch gulp minnow. Put some really nice 13-inch crappies in the boat. We got a couple of gills that were over 10. But I think the average crappie was about 11.5 inches maybe. That's a really nice average. Bunch of 12s, a few 13s. My buddy Danny got a 14. So all in all, great trip over there. I think we're going to be back there in September doing the same thing. So it'll be a little bit different approach by that time. Fun trip regardless. And we put in a full day. I want to say we were on the water by 8 o'clock and we didn't get off till after 6. That's what happens when you get me and Danny in the boat, though. They're kind of laughing. It was getting to be a little after 6, and we could hear both of our stomachs growling, and kind of looked at each other and said, who's going to be the first guy to put the fishing pole down and say it's time to go in? And I'll just say it wasn't me. We would have been smart and brought more snacks out. You know, we probably could have made it another hour, but we had caught so many fish at that point. It was time to go in and get some chow.
Someone save me from all I've done. Please don't blame me for all my thoughts. 'Cause everything we can see is just a joke, nothing more. Everything we're calling truth suddenly will kill us all. Goodbye, goodbye. The spinning deep inside of me, wasting time, but it's fine. But even laugh can make me feel. Goodbye, goodbye. The spinning deep inside of me, wasting time, but it's fine. But even laugh can make me feel. We're the team, selling lies for ourselves, killing in the name of the.
Yeah, that one feels a little different. Does not feel like a gill. Oh, it's a nice perch. Nice bonus perch. Perfect little fish taco there, eh? Nice bonus fish. We're catching plenty of fish, but the ones that are adjacent to this structure really have my attention. Those are some good marks. Tell you one thing, if we can get some cooler nights going, you know, like 2 or 3 in a row, and by cool I mean like low 60s, upper 50s, that's all it's going to take to fire these crappies right up. That's what happened the other day. We were on them for about 2 days straight before the water warmed back up just a little bit, and they seemed to get a little more shy. Nice gill. Nothing wrong with these in the meantime, though. You know, it's almost got me wanting to bring an ice rod out here with some waxies. Spot lock over those bigger marks that are adjacent to the structure and present something in its most simplest form. See if I can get them to come in and eat. bulldog there. Give me all kinds of fits with that drag. Thought he was tougher than he is. Still a solid fish either way. And all I'm doing, again, is banging the basement. I've got the slip float set 6 inches off the bottom. I got little pieces of red worm. Twitch, 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 pause, twitch, 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 pause, and it's usually on that pause when you get them to go. So what you're doing is you're bouncing. You're not on the bottom if you set it, 6 inches above the bottom, right? But when you're working this slip float and you're jigging it, and you're twitching, that jig's dropping down and just barely kissing that silt. And it's creating silt puffs down there. Those fish will come in and investigate every time. Oh, these are just some biscuits today. Oh, they're pretty colors. One with that purple up top. Look at the ear tab on that puppy. Found a isolated boulder out here in the mud. Bunch of 8-9s on it right now, but I have never seen that before, and I'm glad I just found that. There are clumps of sandgrass and coontail out in this mud. It's very isolated little patches, and they hold fish. More fish than what is gathered out in the middle of the mud. And finding boulders like this, same thing. Any kind of structure on structure is going to hold fish. I tell you, we are just floating over all kinds of fish on the bottom right here. Literally a fish aquarium in about a 50 yard radius all around us. We're just working them, getting that bait down to them, banging the basement, drawing them in, and trying to get them to chew just like that. That's a heavy fish. When they stay down, that's when you know they're the right ones. What a solid heavy fish. Look at the build on that beauty. Just another Northwoods biscuit right there. Folks, we're in this bay, and I told you probably a couple hundred times throughout these videos that these bays we're fishing are about 13 to 15 foot and with a mud bottom. And sometimes they're in here, especially when that water temperature gets really, really warm. And it's still warm, but it has come down the last couple days. It was peaking at about 85.6, and now it's down to about 80. It's just barely hanging on to 80. But today there are a ton of fish out here. You know, floating over these guys and looking at the hummingbird there. It looks like landmine fields down there. And these are the fish that are down there. These big ones. Solid fish there, eh? I'll take it. Literally a fish aquarium in about a 50 yard radius all around us. We're just working them, getting that bait down to them, banging the basement, drawing them in, and trying to get them to chew just like that. That's a heavy fish. stay down. That's when you know they're the right ones. Ho, ho, ho. What a solid, heavy fish. Look at the build on that beauty. Just another Northwoods biscuit right there. Folks, we're in this bay, and I told you probably a couple hundred times throughout these videos that these bays we're fishing are about 13 to 15 foot and with a mud bottom. And sometimes they're in here, especially when that water temperature gets really, really warm. And it's still warm, but it has come down the last couple days. It was peaking at about 85.6, and now it's down to about 80. It's just barely hanging on to 80. But today there are a ton of fish out here. You know, floating over these guys and looking at the hummingbird there. It looks like landmine fields down there. And like these are the fish that are down there. These big ones. We'll give this boulder a couple more casts here and see if we can pick one of these bigs off. But so far, though, those 8s and 9s are the ones getting to the bait first. So a little gill sausage there. I think we're about done messing around here with this. This bite, I promised I would try the Panfish Urchin baits. So that's what we're gonna do here in a minute. I'm gonna finish out this little pass, and then we're gonna get right to fishing that urchin and see what happens. I don't know. Have any of you guys used those open water urchin baits yet for panfish? How'd you do? about to find out here in a minute. I've been putting it off because I'm rolling with my bread and butter right now and getting whacked almost every cast. Sitting here trying to think about how I'm going to do this urchin presentation here. I rigged one up for a drop shot, and then I was going to fish one on the slip float, and I just can't see fishing the drop shot around all this heavy wood. I'm going to lose a ton of jigs or a ton of hooks and baits, and those damn things are expensive, man. When I was looking for them, this is just the Panfish model, the cheapest one that wasn't an ice bait. It was a step up from an ice bait. Was like I think $9.99 for a 3-pack, and then I found a 6-pack for $15.99, and those looked a little fishier. They looked like a better bait, so I went with those. And I want to lose a bunch of them, so we're going to try to fish it on the slip float here in a minute. I'm going to get a couple more fish my way first, and then we're going to give that little urchin bait a shot on some of these big panties. What do we have here? Oh, just another biscuit. Biggest one of the day, though, for sure. Wow. Look at that handsome feller. He's got one of them crooked foreheads. That's a tanker. I suppose it's about time we give that urchin a try. There goes nothing. All right, as promised, here we go, Zach. We're gonna go try these little panfish urchins that we talked about all those nights. I'm just gonna, well, it's a 1/32 ounce head, but it's got a number 10 short hook on it. And then we've got like a pumpkin seed, green flake, green and red flake urchin bait. And then we're gonna dab it up in some billy rub and see what happens. Stay tuned. I think I'm just gonna use my twitch pause cadence to start, and then maybe we'll go without the float and kind of work it throughout the water column above some of this brush. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never used these before, but I'm gonna figure it out. Stay tuned. Well, here's our first bite. Let's see what our first panfish urchin fish is. Feels like a crappie, actually. It is. Wow. That is our first panfish urchin. Panfish. And it was not my first cast. It was my probably 6th or 7th cast, to be honest with you. But yeah, just a little twitch pause, and it's just like all the other baits. It's after you've twitched it and it's paused and pulsating is when this fish ate it. So yeah, not a bad first urchin fish, I guess. See if we can get another one. Again, it's just the I got a couple different colors here. I really didn't know what to get, but this looked fishy to me. This pumpkin seed, and it's got a green and red flake in it. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty fun, something new. Tell you, it's really no different than working the gulp with a couple of twitches. That thing is just, I couldn't keep it still if I wanted to. It just sits there and pulsates in the water. There we go. Oh man, the whole panfish sea urchin. I call it a sea urchin, freshwater urchin. Another crappie. Oh, Zach would be proud. We actually talked about doing this. I don't know why I haven't tried it. I'm a stickler for my gulp and my meat, but yeah, they're eating that thing, man. And like I said, no different cadence, cast out. Let the float catch up to your slip knot there, and I'm doing like 3, 4 twitches, getting that bait moving and pulsating, pausing, and when it pauses, that bobber just the last 2 bites they've come up and eaten it. Bobber just lays over flat. Pretty cool when you can try something new or try a new bait and put your little spin on it, your little cadence, and get bit. Zach would be proud. So yeah, we've had a really good fishy morning. There's another one. We're at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but we've been on fish all day, and I really wanted to. This might be a gill. I really wanted to find a good pot of fish to test this bait on, and we finally have. That's definitely going to be a gill the way he's rocking this rod here. Oh, and he, not a big fish by any means, but I'm going to show you. He absolutely choked that urchin. I don't know if you can see that, but it's in there, way down in there. I'm gonna have to do some surgery to get this bait back. These things are expensive too, for little pieces of plastic. $11 for a freaking 3-pack. Whatever. You can see the setup. I forgot to show that in action. But it's our finesse slip float here. 1/32 ounce. We went to a smaller hook. This is not our typical number 8 wide gap. This is a number 10. Just fits the bait better. Gets more natural cadence with it. Like I said, I'm still learning how to shimmy and shake this thing, but it's working just like our gulp does so far. And I'm gonna load it up with some billy rub. And that is the freshwater shrimp scent, by the way. Try it again. Yeah, but anyways, it's been a great day. A lot of nice gills. Small crappie so far up until these last couple. These two have been right around 11 inches, 11 and a half inches. But earlier it was a bunch of those 9s and 10s. I probably should have started with this bait earlier during peak, the peak morning bite window, but I wanted to make sure that I got on fish first, built up that confidence in the area before I started monkeying around with a new bait. So just hit it real quick there too and let go. Show you some of these other colors I got too. I'm still rocking that pumpkin seed one, but I've got like a watermelon color, watermelon red flake, bubblegum, and then just a faded looking chartreuse with black pepper flake. And then I got some of these big dogs, or they're not big. The ones I just showed you were 1.25 inches. These are 1.75 inches. We might try those later too. This is again in a pumpkin seed with black flake. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but that is, I'm not moving the bobber at all. And that bait is just pulsating in the water. It's come alive. Now if I do move it, of course you get even more action on it. Yeah, it looks pretty buggy to me. I'm sold. There we go. I believe that is a bluegill. Again, not a giant, but very respectable. On that old urchin. Gotta say, if this keeps up, these may have a place in my permanent tackle bag here on the boat. Who knew? Smacked it right by the boat. Another nice gill. trying this all different kinds of ways. But it definitely seems like it's getting bit more when I'm maintaining bottom contact. Tried kind of working it fast along the bottom to where I'm hopping it right above the bottom all the way back to the boat. But I'm getting bit the most when I slow it down and maintain bottom contact and just kind of shake it. Been a bunch of these little ones here the last 15 minutes or so, so I think we're going to call it. It's been a great day. Started out searching for a bunch of good pods of panfish to test this on. We found them with the gulp. We caught them on the gulp. We switched to the old panfish urchin. Did get a 10-inch gill on that. Some nice crappies, a bunch of nice eater gills, some bass, so yeah. Notice how I snuck that one last cast in there too. It's just a habit. But yeah, good day. Thanks for hanging with us. This show is dedicated to our buddy Zach, Morrow Outdoors. We won't forget you, buddy. And I know you'll be looking down on us and keeping us safe this ice season. Man, did he just... I don't think that one knew he was hooked right away. It's like dead weight coming back to the boat until he saw the boat and he took off on me. Decent little gill there. They're choking this bait, I'm not gonna lie. It's may just have me won over. Yeah. There's our first mud flat fish. See what it is. I'm gonna guess it's a gill out here. Yep. Okay, so this thing works on mud flats with very little structure, very little weeds, just pretty much a mud bottom here. We had this set just like we had our redworms and gulp cricket set, about 6 inches off the bottom, twitching it, making it kick silt. That was aggressive. That's about, I don't know, a dozen fish on this particular urchin bait, and it's still in pretty good shape, so definitely a good plastic, whatever they use to make these. I was kind of wondering how long it would hold up. $11 for 3 baits. I'm sure they'll get cheaper as more and more monkey see, monkey do, you know. More guys will be making them, which is great for us consumers because then the price will go down a little bit. And sometimes you get guys that pour their plastics just a little bit different and have a little bit different color schemes. And that can really be your friend as well. That feels like a better fish. Not really. Just another eater. It's always those smaller ones that stick you. Like I was saying before when we first started fishing this bait today, I've got them as small as 3/4 of an inch, which I can't wait now to start testing through the ice. That'll be real fun experiment. This is another angry fish, or this is actually a decent one. But the one we're using today for open water on this slip float is a 1 3/4 inch. A little bit bigger profile. It's a nice fish. Only about a 9-incher, but pretty heavy. Pretty heavy, pretty wide for its length. Slam that bait too, let me tell you. It's a little bit more of an aggressive bite. Now that could just be the day, or it could be the bait. Because earlier when we were using the gulp, we were catching a ton of fish, but it wasn't one after another like it is with this urchin. So we'll keep testing it out. I'm going to go fish it in a couple different areas. We've already hit our wood piles with great success. We're fishing this mud flat right now. We're getting chewed on. We're going to go try it off of a rock point next, and then maybe on some sandgrass. But not before we catch that one. Does not feel very big. It's because it is not. Another probably 8-incher right here. All right, let's go try this. Let's go try the sandgrass first. Yeah, there's a few fish up here on this grass flat. 6-7 feet of water. And we have the gill. Nice gill. Now, I always like to catch a couple of each fish here, you know, before I say it actually works on this spot. But first cast with it up on the sandgrass, and boom, nice gill. Well, you sure can tell it's getting later in the season, later in the summer by just some of the spots you fish. Like this little grass flat here is in 6-7 feet of water, and by early June, some of the longer grass stalks you can really see sticking out of the water. And boy, as each week's gone by, they've gotten shorter and shorter, kind of laying over. Fall is coming. I got to kind of laugh at myself. I was just griping about how it was, $11, $11.99 for a 3-pack of these little inch and 3/4 inch baits. I swore I would never do that. I remember my grandfather, my uncle, some of the older guys that I used to fish with would complain about how much a jig cost or how much plastics cost or whatever. I used to just laugh because there used to be no price tag I wouldn't pay if I knew that bait caught fish. In fact, I'd, be down to like 3 or 4 baits, 3 or 4 of my favorite baits in the box. And I would stop everything I was doing right there and get some more ordered on the phone. And it didn't matter what I was paying or what I was paying for shipping to have them here the next day. But as you get older, start getting a little bit more frugal as you understand the value of $1 these days. I can't believe we're actually sitting here talking about that in my boat. But we are. Like to get a couple different fish on a spot with a different bait before I say, hey, look, it works. So far, so good with this bait, though. I'm trying to hate it, if you can't tell. But I kind of like it. We'll see if we can pluck a few more off this grass, and then we'll go hit one more rock point before we call it a day. Well, we got a bonus fish here. Oh no, that's a crappie. I thought it was a bass at first, the way it came out of the water and jumped like a bass. All I saw was that silver streak. That's a crappie. Not sure what they're doing up here right now. this heat, but they're up here nonetheless, and they're eating that bait. I think when we go to this last spot and hit that rock point, we're going to fish a little different. That's another nice crappie. That's a good one. I barely have him hooked. Oh, yeah. Got him in. It's a nice stout 12-inch fish there, maybe a little bigger. But as I was saying, they were going to ditch the slip float, even though it's been working. But I want to try it either on a drop shot or by just taking a little jig head, maybe a 1/16 ounce or 1/32 ounce jig head with a short shank hook, and kind of just casting out, letting it go to the bottom and kind of bouncing it off the bottom. But I've already got the drop shot set up, and I know I got another rod here somewhere with just a jig head on it, so I might do both. Nice fish. Wind's picking up here this afternoon. It's a real stagnant, calm morning. We haven't had one of those in a while. It's blowing pretty good right now. It just blew me right out of the strike zone right away. As we were talking earlier about, fall's not far behind. We started cleaning out the garage and kind of moving some stuff around, getting the ice stuff, letting it breathe again. And we are going to be sponsored and working with a different company this year, one that we've worked with in the past. But no longer with Clam Outdoors. And I've already gone over all that stuff. It was a beautiful friendship for the last decade with those guys. It was just time for something different and time to move on. But we've started selling a lot of our stuff as we get ready to get, a different brand incorporated into the guide fleet there. So I do have an Vexilar LX30 left. My 8 and 12 have sold. I have sold the big Folds of Honor X600. I have sold the 2-man X200 flip over. I still have one X400 pop-up thermal left and one X100 thermal 1-man flip left, if anybody's interested, and the 30 FLX30 Vexilar. So if you're interested in getting a price on those, they're priced to sell right now, I'll tell you that. So if you're interested, just shoot me a message on here or in the comments below if you want. This almost feels like working a drop shot or a shaky head. And you feel them pick it up right off the bottom. It's a heck of a lot of fun, I'll tell you that. Another nice gill. Not a bad one. Take it. So yeah, now I'm He's there. Yep, he was there. So we opted for the plain jig head. It's a nice bluegill. I'll just show you what we're rocking with here now. We didn't go to the drop shot. We went to the plain jig head. With the urchin bait on there. It's a 1/32 ounce with a number 10 hook. And we're just kind of bouncing it and scraping it and shaking it on the bottom in the mud. And they're coming and chewing it. So we've caught them on the slip bobber. Caught them doing this with the plain jig head. I don't know. So it's just going to be an experiment. Just to see if we can get them to eat this thing. And we have. I tried to hate it and not want to buy more, but I'm going to have to. Let's just keep plugging away here and see what we can get. Tell you, my hands are so cut up right now from all these gills. I go to eat anything salty or get a little bit of grease in there or something, I sure feel it. I think I've been cut in the same place so many times that it's just not wanting to heal. It's actually starting to heal, and then I got cut open by a perch. And it kind of reopened the wound, and it just won't heal. Peroxide. That bacteria cream. And it'll start to scab over and heal, but I use my hands so much. The reeling, taking off the fish, you know how it is. I ain't got to tell you. All right, one more cast here on this grass flat, and then we'll move to those rocks. I can't see why it's not going to work up there. So I'm impressed. I'm a fan of the panfish urchin.
Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. All my memories gather around her, miner's lady, stranger to blue waters, dark and dusty, painted on the sky.
What I'm actually doing is casting up on a tapering point. The very tip of that point is in 11 feet of water. I'm casting it to about 6 feet of water. Because there's a wind, it's kind of pushing that bait towards the tip there. It's slow falling as it does, and they're grabbing that bait as it gets toward the very taper of that point. So my bait's here, it's coming down, being pushed by the wind, and they're grabbing it on the way down to that point. And I'm just kind of shaking it as it's floating down that point. Just like you would a shaky head, I guess, if you were bass fishing. I think he's actually got it. He's swimming towards me. Reel up and see if I can feel that tension. Yep. I did not get a good hook set on this fish. He was swimming right at me. It's a decent one. Boy, that's another solid fish right there. We'll take that, huh? Yeah, Zach, your sea urchins, or your freshwater panfish urchins. I finally went out and did it, buddy. It works. I fished them both ways on that slip float and off the bottom, and they worked. So this episode was for you, buddy. I hope you're watching us all, and I hope you're catching a ton of fish up there, man. That one's for you.